Okay, so we're doing markup, percent markup, and what is the cost? Cost is the amount a merchant pays for an item. A merchant doesn't pay the price you see at the store. Otherwise, the merchant would make no money. So the merchant pays an amount for an item, it's called the cost. And then they mark it up. Okay, they mark it up. So markup is the amount the merchant adds to the cost to determine the retail price. Okay. So again, if you're a merchant, say you're Walmart. Walmart buys those items from somebody. They buy them at cost. They mark them up, and that's what they sell it to you for. So the merchant, original merchant, makes money because they sell it to the store with making money off the cost. They sell it for less than it costs to make it. But the store has to make money, so they mark it up, and that's called the retail price. And that's the way the world works. Some markups are greater than others. Clothing industry, usually over 50%, sometimes 70 and 80%. Jewelry, extremely high markup from the cost to the retail price. Just depends. Depends on what the item is as to how much that markup is and such. A lot of other factors involved, such as market, what's the marketability of the item, do a lot of people want it, etc. Okay, so to do these type of problems, we've got to come up with a couple formulas. What is your retail price then? Your retail price is the cost plus the markup. And that should make sense. All right, remember, take the cost, add your markup amount to it, and you'll get the retail price. Now, how do you get the markup? Well, like everything, markup is a part. It's a part. So markup equals percent times the whole. In this case, where did you start? And that was with the cost. So the whole is the cost. You could think of it this way. The markup is the percent of the cost, where the cost is the of number. Okay? So you have to remember how it starts. This starts with a cost. So to figure out the markup, we have to take the percent of the cost to figure out how much to mark the item up. Once you get the markup amount, the merchant adds it to his cost to figure out the retail price, how much he'll sell that item for. Okay? So again, it's going to take some review and studying to keep things straight in your mind, and that's what you need to do when you do problems like this. All right, so let's do number 3, find the retail price. So what are we after? We're after the retail price. The way I would do any problem like this is I would start with the formula, the retail price equals the cost plus the markup. Right? That's my formula. Retail price equals the cost plus the markup. So here's how you would do this if you just run into this problem. So maybe a homework on a problem on a quiz, problem on a test, or a homework problem. You would start with saying, hey, I need to figure out the retail price. I need to figure out the retail price. And therefore, I'm going to use my formula, retail price equals cost plus markup. Then you begin to look and see what you have. So it gave us the cost, but that's it. The retail price is what we're looking for, right? So we know this is going to be the variable. I'm going to put the n there. It gave us the cost. That's $75. But what we don't know is the markup. This is not the percent. This is the actual amount of money. Your retail price isn't the original cost plus a percent. It's the original cost plus how much money that percent is. Okay. So again, we have to do this in 2 steps. We have to first find the markup. So again, we got a formula for that. The markup equals, here I'll use my color, the percent, and that's the percent markup times the cost. So as long as you stay organized, these aren't terrible, but you have to do some thinking. So again, what do I need to finish finding the retail price? I need the markup, and so that's what we're going to find right now. And again, I'm just using MU for markup. Somebody raise your hand and tell me what to put in for the percent. So what goes into the percent in the formula? Colby? 0.18. All right, good. So Colby remembers, hey, we've got to put our percents in decimal form. As you can see clearly in the given part, our cost is $75. And I'm going to leave my money sign like I always do, my dollar sign, because I want to remember this is money. So I'm going to take my calculator out. This is straight multiplication, right? 0.18 times 75. Everybody should be punching that out. And Christina, what do you got? Great. So Christina read it as money, which she should have, right? Instead of saying 13.5, she told me $13.50. Now that we have this, now we can stick it in for the markup. Now we're ready to finish getting the retail price. And you know what? I'm just going to keep it RP here. I'm going to change my N because that's what we're looking for. So again, if you're smart and you didn't clear your calculator still has 13.5. Add to it the 75. Commutative property, right? We can switch the order. Again, though, be careful that you're reading money. And hopefully you got $88.50. Now I've got to ask, does my answer make sense? I'm always asking demands. It costs $75. The retail price has to be higher. Is it higher? Yes. Got to be about 18% higher. So what's 10% of $75? Somebody raise your hand. What's 10% of $75? Everybody should know 10% of something. So on 3, I want you to give me the answer. What's 10% of $75? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. $7.05. Yes, $7.50, right? And so 20% would be double that. So that's $15. So we went up 13.5. DeMams likes that answer, right? It should be a little less than $15 more than the 75, and we are, and DeMams is happy. My answer makes sense. I might be off a penny or two or something like that, but it makes sense at least, and I'm not gigantically off the problem. Okay? So that's how we're going to do these. So I want you guys to do the next one on your own. So do B, the cost is $375, and the markup is 55%. I'm going to pause. You guys go ahead and do that one. All right. Julia, what do you got for an answer? $581.25. How many agree with that? All right. Does the MAMS like that? The MAMS likes that. You got to go up 55%. So that's a lot. That's over half the amount of the money. And we have gone up over half the amount of the money. And so the MAMS likes the answer. Again, notice the organization. I started with a formula that'll find the retail price. That told me I still needed the markup amount to run the formula. So I used the markup amount formula, found the markup, added it to the retail, to the cost, and we end up with the retail price. All right, so once you got that correct, so just like with discount, they could ask you to find the markup rate. And here's the same situation. You got to know the markup to be able to find the markup rate. So they may not give you the markup. Now, if they do, that's good. It's easier problem. But sometimes they won't tell you the markup, but you can always find it. But you got to have the markup to figure out the markup rates. And then again, remember, in all of these problems, the rate is a percent. So the solution to the equation will be the percent in decimal form. Therefore, you can do two things. You could either move the decimal point 2 places to the right and add the percent symbol, or in your calculator, you can multiply by 100 and add the percent symbol, right? It's the same thing. One's using your calculator to multiply, the other is doing the exact same thing with a shortcut, right? But don't forget, anytime you're reading a percent, you have to move that decimal point 2 places to the right, add the percent symbol, or multiply times 100%. And just think it through. The MAM should help you with this. Look, if you got something that should be about 20% and you get 0.2, that should help you to remember, oh, it can't be 0.2%. It's supposed to be 20%. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to multiply by 100%. Or, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. All right, let's do a couple problems. First one, find the percent markup if the cost is $75 and the retail price is $105. Now look, in this one, because I'm looking for the percent markup, I'm going to use that formula first. And I'm going to use the markup equals the percent markup and then times, and that is the cost. And that reminds me, I wanted to do one thing. So as soon as you guys write that, let's go back one page back. And let's make sure you understand that this is percent markup. Okay? And I would write that in there on the formula chart. Remember, markup is percent markup. That's what we meant by the percent times the cost. So you can see that's the formula we're using, right? Markup is percent markup times the cost. So again, in this kind of a situation, I'm going to look and see what I have. I'm trying to find the percent markup. I do not know the markup. I don't know it. Percent markup is what I'm looking for, and the cost I do know is $75. But I see that I can't finish the problem, right? Because I don't know the amount of the markup. So again, I got to think, well, how do I find the markup? This is your thinking process. Because I need the markup to figure out the percent markup. How do I get the markup? And now in this one, you're going to have to use the formula again. Retail price equals, somebody raise your hand and finish that problem for me. Retail price equals, Nia? Cost plus the markup, correct. Retail price is always the cost plus the markup. So you'll notice they gave us the retail price, $105. They gave us the cost, $75. So you can see this is a little simplistic equation, right? Just like any equation, we'll move the $75 by adding its opposite to both sides. And you're simply going to do $105 minus 75. Now, by the way, when you're nice and organized like this, it'll help you down the road. So now we know the markup is $30. We did all of this, so we can now put that $30 in here, right? Let me slow down, let you take a look at that and absorb that, right? So again, we got a two-step problem. Sometimes it won't be a two-step problem. Sometimes they'll ask you for the percent markup, and they'll tell you the amount of the markup, and they'll tell you the cost. Okay, you don't need to do this other step. But if instead of telling you the amount of markup, they tell you the retail price, you have to figure out the markup first and then solve. All right, so we're not done yet, right? Somebody tell me how to solve this equation for the percent. Chloe? So the 75 is multiplied times the variable. So we'll move it by multiplying both sides by the reciprocal, or we'll do the shortcut, right? Divide both sides by 75. Now remember, with the percent, you either gotta move the decimal point 2 places to the right, or multiply times 100 in your calculator and add the percent symbol. Colby, question?
Oh, no.
Answer? Already punch it out? All right, what do you got, Colby?
40%.
40% is the answer, and that was right on. Whoops, put a dollar symbol there. Not $40%, just 40%, right? That ended up 0.4, so 40%. Now, we always got to ask the ma'ams, does my answer make sense? The cost was $75, and then the merchant add $30 to it. Is $30 getting close to half of the 75? It is. Half of the 75 is 50%. We should be a little less. 40 makes sense. The ma'ams likes the answer, but make sure you always ask the ma'ams. Always ask the ma'ams. All right, so I'm going to leave the last problem for you. I'm going to pause the video and let you do this last one. And the last one is, find the percent markup if the cost is $1,200 and the retail price is $2,300. All right, see what you can do with that. Okay, so again, I hope you were organized. Hey, by writing the formulas every time in your homework, what does that help you to do? Memorize the formulas and keep things straight. Take advantage of that. Besides, you're required to, but you're required to so it'll help you to remember them and keep them straight. So we learn things better when we not only think of them, but if we say them and also if we write them. And so make sure you have formula each time, be organized. All right, so on 3, class, I want you to give me the percent markup on 3. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. Okay, make sure, does my answer make sense? 0.91% doesn't. 91.7%. Does that make sense? Well, think about it. The cost was $1,200 and the markup was $1,100. The markup was almost the same amount as the cost. So the same amount would be 100%. We're a little bit less, so it better be a little less than 100%. And it is 91.7% markup. And I'm telling you, that's not an unusual markup. Clothing is marked up usually more than that. Some clothing, they can afford to cut the price in half, have a 50% off sale, and still make money. That meant the markup must have been close to over 100% to begin with. And it is. A lot of times they double the price, if not more, for the markup. Christian, question?
So you multiplied that by,
I multiplied what? You're saying, Christian?
that by 100%, I guess.
Yeah, remember, it's always in decimal form. So two ways. Either move your decimal point 2 places to the right, or simply in your calculator multiply times 100. But remember now you're in percent. Now you get to use the percent symbol. Moving decimal point 2 places to the right, same thing. Okay, so let me just review the formula one more time. Focus now. Don't do anything, just look. So don't forget, what is cost? It's the amount the merchant pays for the item. So the markup is the amount the merchant adds to the cost to end up at the retail price. 2 main formulas: retail price is cost plus markup, and then the markup is the percent markup times the cost. To do that, you'll be in great shape. Make sure you show your formulas, and I will quit there.